You know what, Bears fans? It's time we shift the spotlight. Yes, the offseason has been all about offense. Caleb Williams, Rome Odeyingbo, Keenan Allen, and a completely revamped line to protect the golden rookie. But let's not forget where this franchise built its legacy. Defense. And right now, that side of the ball might be more intriguing and more fragile than people realize. Because despite the myth that the Bears are always strong on D, the reality is, last year's unit, it was average at best. Jaylon Johnson, the star in the shadows. Let's start at the top. The best player on the Bears' defense heading into 2025 is, without a doubt, Jaylon Johnson. One of the best cornerbacks in the entire league, Johnson has quietly pieced together a brilliant few seasons, even while the defense around him faltered. Last year wasn't his absolute peak, but that had more to do with a sliding system and overall poor cohesion on defense than anything Johnson did. Now, with Dennis Allen taking over and promising an aggressive press-man scheme, Johnson is poised to take his game to another level. This is a system that lets corners hunt, island-style coverage, no safety blankets, and if that fits anyone's DNA, it's Jaylon Johnson. The $98 million question. Is Montez Sweat that guy? Now here's the real debate. Who's the second best player on this defense? At face value, the answer should be Montez Sweat. The Bears didn't trade for him and hand him $98 million just to be solid. They expect sacks, edge setting, dominance. But in 2024, he didn't deliver. Yes, he played through a nagging foot issue. And yes, that matters. But at the end of the day, production is production. Sweat looked like a mid-tier starter last year, not a $24 million per year franchise pass rusher. The expectations are massive in 2025. He has to return to that 2023 form. Double-digit sacks, consistent pressure, and that high-energy edge presence the Bears have lacked for years. The problem? If Montez Sweat doesn't play like a star, there's no one behind him ready to step up and carry that torch. Quick time out, Bears Nation. Do you live and breathe this team? Then subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications. We're breaking down every roster battle, every breakout candidate, and every defensive wrinkle coming out of Halas Hall. We're building the most informed Bears fan base on YouTube, and you're invited. Smash that like button if you think Jaylon Johnson is elite, and let's keep this season hype rolling. What about the rest of the pack? If Johnson and Sweat are 1A and 1B, who rounds out the rest of this unit? Let's talk names. Kyler Gordon. Now with a new contract, he's expected to be used creatively, possibly lining up at safety, in the box, and over the slot. Think of a Swiss Army knife version of Tyrann Mathieu. He's versatile and athletic. Could he pop in this new system? Don't rule it out. TJ Edwards. Rock solid. Dependable. But if he's your second best defensive player, that's a problem. Same with Tremaine Edmunds. 2 years into his Bears tenure, and the results have been mixed. The team paid him like a future All-Pro. So far, he's been serviceable. But can Dennis Allen's system unlock the athletic monster inside? This is likely his last shot to prove he can be more than just pretty good. Grady Jarrett. A name that still carries weight. But at 32 years old, he's probably on the back nine. Still effective, still tough, but no longer the centerpiece. And that's kind of the core issue here. Good players? Yes. Great ones? Few. When you zoom out, the defense has a lot of good players, guys you can win with, but it lacks those blue-chip elite talents who change games by themselves. Jaylon Johnson. Great. Maybe not a Hall of Famer, but absolutely top tier. Montez Sweat has shown flashes of greatness, but hasn't sustained it. Kyler Gordon, full of potential, still needs to prove it. Tremaine Edmunds, overdue for a breakout. Gervon, Dexter, and Shamar Turner. Intriguing, but raw. They need more time. And if we're being brutally honest, the edge position behind Sweat is dangerously thin. There's no proven threat on the other side. And that brings us back to this question. If Sweat isn't dominant, who is? That answer could make or break this defense in 2025. As the Chicago Bears continue their off-season evaluation, one thing has become alarmingly clear. Their edge rusher group is dangerously reliant on one player, Montez Sweat. While Sweat is undeniably talented, this heavy dependence could backfire if the team doesn't reinforce its pass rush soon. Let's start with the current state of the position. Outside of Sweat, there's Dayo Odeyingbo, who's more of a rotational piece than a consistent disruptor. The team is hopeful about rookie Austin Booker, but hope doesn't generate sacks on Sundays. Dominique Robinson has shown flashes in practice but hasn't put it together in meaningful action. Daniel Hardy appears to be a poor scheme, fit due to his size, and the rest of the room is filled with depth pieces and undrafted free agents from the past 2 seasons. In simple terms, there is no proven second option on the edge. That leads to a troubling scenario. Unlike a true elite like Max Crosby in Las Vegas, who plays over 90% of the snaps and delivers week after week, Montez Sweat hasn't shown that same week-to-week dominance. His impact fluctuates. In Washington, his high-level performances came in bursts, and while he had a strong stretch in Chicago last season, it wasn't consistent enough to consider him a solo threat opposing offenses fear every game. What happens if he's injured or underperforms? The Bears' entire pass rush could collapse. That's why this need isn't just a luxury, it's a legitimate concern. There are still proven free agents on the market, guys like Zadarius Smith, Jadeveon Clowney, Matt Judon, Von Miller, and Preston Smith. Each of these veterans brings a unique value. Smith, for example, still posted 9 sacks and had a 14% pass rush win rate in 2024. A strong number for someone many consider past their prime. Clowney is solid against the run and can generate pressure in streaks. Judon, who the Bears were reportedly interested in last year, remains one of the most effective bull rushers in the game. The bottom line is this: if Ryan Poles wants to give this defense a real shot at taking a step forward, he needs to make another move at edge. The Hendrickson trade rumors continue to linger, but whether it's a trade or a free agent, another pass rusher is necessary. Without that, this group is simply too thin to survive an NFL season where pressure is essential every single week. Is Ruben Hippolyte ready for a bigger role? While the edge concerns dominate the conversation, there's intrigue elsewhere on the defense, particularly at linebacker. Could rookie Ruben Hippolyte be ready to take over as LB3? With TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmunds locked in as the Bears' primary linebackers, Hippolyte has quietly emerged as a serious candidate to fill that third spot, especially after getting significant reps during minicamp, while Edwards recovered from a minor soft tissue issue. Hippolyte brings speed and versatility. The Bears seem to believe he has the potential to contribute as both a weak side linebacker and a future option in the middle. In base defense, he'd line up on the outside, but more importantly, he'd be off the field in nickel packages unless he proves he can cover. And that's where his athletic profile becomes valuable. He's fast, he can tackle in space, and if his football instincts continue to develop, the Bears may have found a hidden gem in their linebacker room. This is a player who, during just 3 weeks of spring, made clear developmental strides. And while preseason will be the true test, Hippolyte's progress could be a huge asset, especially if injuries or fatigue set in at the position over the long season. Brisker and Byard, safety pairing on shaky ground? At safety, the pairing of Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard gives the Bears a strong veteran presence, but only if they stay healthy. Byard is still playing at a starter-level caliber, while Brisker, when healthy, is a dynamic playmaker who brings passion, range, and the ability to do a bit of everything. He can hit, blitz, and cover, and he thrives in the box as well. But here's the issue. Brisker's concussion history is worrying. He missed 12 games last season due to head injuries, and while he looked strong this spring in non-contact sessions, every big hit in the regular season is going to make Bears fans nervous. It's not a matter of if he can play. It's whether he can stay on the field. Behind them, Jonathan Owens and Elijah Hicks are reliable backups, but they're not long-term solutions. If either has to step into a full-time role, especially for several games in a row, the defense could be exposed. Last year proved that when Hicks started multiple weeks, opposing offenses were able to adjust and exploit matchups. The depth is serviceable, but not secure. The X factors. Who can change the game? So who are the players that could take this defense from good to great? There are 3 major X factors to watch. 1. Tyrique Stevenson. Stevenson may be the biggest wild card in the secondary. He has all the physical tools: speed, length, and toughness. But he needs to be more consistent. If he can take the next step in a press-man system that suits his skill set, he could become a legitimate CB1 across from Jaylon Johnson. That alone would elevate the Bears' pass defense dramatically. Second, Gervon Dexter. The interior defensive lineman has added muscle and is expected to play more as a one technique this season. That's a role that could unlock his pass rush skills and help him become more of a run stuffer. If Dexter can become a consistent interior disruptor, the Bears' defensive line instantly becomes much harder to handle. Third, Dayo Odeyingbo. Signed to be more than just a rotational guy, the Bears are betting on Odeyingbo's upside. In Indianapolis, he was solid, but not dominant. Chicago is hoping this scheme and coaching staff can pull more from his raw athleticism. If he hits, it would ease the pressure off Montez Sweat and help stabilize the edge group. A defense with potential, but too many. What ifs? When you evaluate the Bears' defense as a whole, you see promise. The linebacker group is athletic, the secondary has star potential, and the line has pieces. But the problem is, there are too many uncertainties. What if Stevenson doesn't make a leap? What if Odeyingbo remains average? What if Brisker gets hurt again? Those what-ifs are what separates a top 10 defense from one stuck in the middle of the pack. If everything goes right, this could be a top 8 defense. If a few things break the wrong way, particularly on the pass rush, they could hover in that 15 to 18 range. Realistically, they sit somewhere in between, with the 12th best defense in the league sounding about right. But the key takeaway is this: they're 1 or 2 impact players away from being elite. If Ryan Poles makes a bold move at edge, or if one of the X factors pops, this group has the chance to make a serious statement in 2025.